Well, ladies and gentlemen, our freedoms are under attack. With activist groups like Collective Shout, the payment processors, and governments actively trying to censor and restrict content we can and can't consume, censorship seems to be the name of the game as of late. Now, if you haven't heard this story as of late, it all started with an activist group called Collective Shout, which is basically a grassroots campaign movement against the objectification of women and the sexualization of girls. Now, before anything, I'm all for protecting children from basically explicit content or over sexualization of content. However, consenting adults should have the ability or the will to be able to consume content that is meant for adults on their own time with their own money. And with that statement being said, we go over to video games, which has been in the crosshair of this so-called activist groups recently. I'm sure you all heard about how they collectively shouted against Steam, and Steam basically just ignored them. W Steam, by the way. But since Steam was ignoring them, basically like, yeah, whatever, people can post whatever they want on our platform, they went to the payment processors, and the payment processors have forced platforms like Steam and itch.io to change their terms of service to remove sexually explicit content from their servers. You're probably wondering, how do they collectively shout? They basically mass email and just call and bomb people and basically just ignore them and annoy them and be Karens until they get what they want in that situation. And guess who's been listening to what they've been wanting? Visa and MasterCard and other payment processors like PayPal. All these payment processors are actively threatening these platforms to remove the sexually explicit content. Probably wondering how gamers have reacted to this news with these payment processors basically trying to force their will on different servers. Basically, we've been fighting fire with fire. People have been mass calling and mass emailing Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, all these payment processors, basically saying, hey guys, I don't agree with how you guys are trying to force your narrative, try to force your will on these other people. And so far, it seems like it's been working because Visa employees have been responding with anger and just basically a whole lot of annoyance and just being tired of just these constant calls over and over and over, which we should keep doing 100% until they change their tune. Like they shouldn't be bending their knee to these activist groups that just want to change it just because they don't agree with what's being out there. But I digress. What's insane to me is how much power these payment processors have to just put so much pressure on Steam and Valve. And you know how Valve is known for their hands-off approach to most issues. They got Valve to bend the knee. That is unheard of. Valve is usually really hands-off to themselves, just like, hey, we provide great service and a great platform. Do whatever you want. Freedom, basically. Freedom is a good word to express Steam, and which is why Steam is loved by so many people and gamers alike on the internet. Now, if these payment processors can get a giant company like Steam to bend a knee, other services have no chance, no other choice but to do and change their terms of service. Now, if you think this is only gamer and game specific, you can be more wrong. Let me introduce you to the UK's Online Safety Act. This act, or a bill as it is, since it's going into effect as of July 25th, I believe it is, July 25th, it is said to protect children and their online safety, basically protect them from accessing content that they have no business accessing. However, they've already admitted that it's not just for monitoring children, it's also to monitor and censor adults. The admission comes from a Barry Grainer, which I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Goes as follows. The law also aims to identify and restrict content deeming harmful, including expression of sentiments contrary to immigration, aka the world's becoming more and more like cyberpunk every day, with corporations basically telling all these politicians how they can and can't act, basically pushing their will onto other people. This is insane. This is insane. I get that protection should be for children, basically preventing them from seeing and consuming certain forms of content, but that's the job of their parents. Their parents should be protecting them, should be monitoring them, make sure they don't see stuff that they shouldn't be seeing. That's the parents' job. Why is the government trying to get involved in this? They don't care about the children. And if you think I'm just out here yapping, YouTube is actively going to roll out a new policy basically. AI is going to look at the content you consume and decide if you're over the age of 18. They look at what you consume and they basically say, is this person an adult or not? And you know how bad the YouTube AI is. So, people who consume more meant for everyone content, like maybe Minecraft or like, you watch Let's Plays or just different like discussion, but like stuff kids can also watch that's also friendly for kids. YouTube AI might flag you and then require you to basically show your ID and dox yourself. Already putting your ID out there for it to just get hacked and then people just to steal your ID and your data is already a big issue. Like, do you think we would trust YouTube security to protect our data like that? And if you think that they're just gonna delete our data after they confirmed our ID, yeah, right. All that fresh, juicy data, they're not gonna get rid of that data. They're gonna keep it and then use it to build up more information about you so they can sell you, push more ads to you specifically. And this isn't just a UK problem. The US is also trying to push forward a bill called the Screen Act, which is basically what they're talking about in Parliament right now. Like, this is getting so bad and so out of hand so quickly. I had never seen something escalate so fast. It's almost like it was planned, you know? It's like too many coincidences happening back to back to back. I don't know. It's just kind of suspect to me, if I'm being honest. Like, it all started from collective shout to payment processors, and now the government is getting involved. Getting involved for why? Just because payment processors randomly started to decide to change terms of service on different platforms? Why is the government getting involved in this for what? All seems just a little too convenient. And not only YouTube, Spotify is being affected by this. You know, the app that you just chill and listen to music on? Guess what? They're also gonna ban your account if you don't confirm that you're over 18. Wikipedia is actively suing the UK government as we speak. The UK government is trying to suppress Wikipedia. Why do you want your civilians and your populace to be less educated? It's almost like you want them to be less educated so you can control them more. I don't know. This problem goes way beyond video games. It's not just about video games anymore. It's just about protecting your freedoms and your privacy. Protecting your online privacy is so important. If you want to express yourself, you want to basically say whatever you want. That's what the online is for. Like, that's literally what all these social media apps and all these different platforms are for, to express yourself. If I want to watch a YouTube video about some horror game, some like scary horror game that maybe has some more just mature adult content behind it, I should be able to do so without the government actively trying to look at me, trying to see what I'm watching. He's watching a scary game. Maybe we should go arrest him. At the end of the day, I feel like our freedoms are being suppressed. All the content we consumed are going to be spied on and monitored. Why is it that they're trying to push so hard to censor us and just watch and monitor the content we consume? It's kind of suspicious if you ask me. But hey, what I know, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.